For some reason, I've been tapped a lot into doing the step 4 and 5 inventory on sex. I do a 3-hour workshop just on the sex inventory and ideal. I mentioned the whole false accusation, and there's a lot of feedback from that as well. I also share about being sexually abused at boarding school from a staff member, and I share about having affairs with married men a lot in my drinking. And those things really hit with a lot of people.
Well, hello, friends of Bill W. and other friends. You have landed on Sober Speak. My name is John M. I am an alcoholic, and we are glad you are all here, especially newcomers. Newcomers, that is, both to recovery as a whole and newcomers to this podcast. Sober Speak is a podcast about recovery centered around the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. My job here on Sober Speak is simple. My job is to provide a platform to the amazing stories of recovery all around us. Consider Sober Speak, if you will, your meeting between meetings. Please remember, we do not speak for AA or any 12-step community. We represent only ourselves. We are here to share our experience, strength, and hope with those who wish to come along for the ride. Take what you want and leave the rest at the curb for the trash man to pick up. Greetings from Studio AA, deep in the heart of Texas. That was the voice of Judith that you heard at the beginning of this episode, and you're going to hear so much more from her in just a moment. But first things first, excuse me, my voice is going out a little bit. This here episode is made possible by Linda, Todd, Kurt, Susan, and Anonymous. And so you say to yourself, what exactly did Linda, Todd, Kurt, Susan, and Anonymous do? Well, they dropped by our humble little website, www.soberspeak.com. They clicked on the little yellow donate tab and they made a contribution. So thank you so much, Linda, Todd, Kurt, Susan, and Anonymous. This here episode is coming right out to Ewan's. All right, so we're going to make this kind of quick today. Quite honestly, I'm a little bit under the, what is that? What do you say, under the weather? Why? That's a weird saying now that I think of it, under the weather. What does that mean? Aren't we all standing somewhere or sitting somewhere or laying down somewhere underneath the weather? I'm sure there's some sort of history behind that, but I'm just not 100%, I'll put it that way. Anyway, I do want to put in one piece of housekeeping here, I guess you would call it, and then I'm going to introduce Judith, and we're going to have her episode. Mike, who monitors our P.O. box, wrote into me and he said, hey, John, I have a request for you. I had someone write in to the P.O. box from Washington State County Jail saying he wanted to correspond, but he would be going to an Oregon State prison. I wrote to the address in Washington and it was returned. If you could, John, do a shout out at your earliest convenience and let him know to write the P.O. box again. I did try to respond. His name is Emmett H. So Emmett H., if you're listening out there, like Mike is saying, just try to write the P.O. box again. Looks like he does not have your address in Oregon, but I think they call it Oregon for some reason. But nonetheless, anyway, thank you so much, Mike, for monitoring that P.O. box. I do appreciate it. And once again, Mr. Emmett, if you could write Mike again, that would be appreciated so I can have your contact information. All right, on to the episode of the week, we are featuring Judith R. And this is part one of Judith's interview. And this episode is called Sex Inventory and Sound Sex Ideal. Judith is from Bismarck, North Dakota. Oh, and my friend Carl actually introduced me to Judith. And anyway, and she has been sober since January of 2009. 2009. Oh, man. Anyway, in this episode, she discusses her occupation as a chief judge of the MHA Nation, her experience in law school, being raised in Australia, her first drink at 27, and then the downward spiral from that point, being excommunicated from her church. Man, imagine that. She got excommunicated. Anyway, her second husband's collectible Harley Davidson and the shenanigans that went on with that. Her workshops that she does around the country on a sex inventory and sound sex ideal, and much, much more. And please keep in mind, this is the first part of our interview with Judith. So we'll have a follow-up with her next week. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Miss Judith R. And we will not be having listener feedback today. I'm going to have to catch up on that sometime next week. Anyway, God bless you. Since I'm not doing listener feedback, I'm going to say this. If you enjoy this episode, and I know you will, please be sure to pause your device and share it with a friend or family member. It may be just what they need today. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can look us up at SoberSpeak. If you want to join the super secret Facebook group, go to Facebook, search up SoberSpeak Secret Group, ask for admission, and we will get y'all on in there. Once again, enjoy Judith R. Okay, everybody. So today we're sitting here with, in fact, I'm going to let her go ahead. Introduce yourself there, Judith. Give your sobriety date if you wish, and tell people where you live in this great land of ours, please.
All right. Well, hi, my name's Judith. I am an alcoholic. My sobriety date is January the 19th, 2009, and currently I live in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Bismarck, North Dakota. Okay, so we've had one individual on from North Dakota before. Do you know Jeff V. by chance?
Yes, he's a good friend of mine. North Dakota is pretty small, so if you're in AA, you pretty much know almost everyone. Yes, well, Jeff is awesome, and has been a big influence on AA in North Dakota.
He's hilarious too. In fact, I'll ask you. I think I probably talked about this with him. I'm not sure. It's been a while now. But did you get to see the chipper that is in Fargo, the movie, by any chance?
No, I have not. No, I actually have never ever watched an episode of that show.
Yeah, I only saw the movie and just a little bit of it.
I don't even know what it is, but I don't know. I've prided myself on not watching that. I don't know why, but no, I have not.
Well, if I remember right, and I could be way off base, and there's going to be some people listening to this going, he has no idea what he's talking about. But I think there was a wood chipper that they put a person in the movie.
I heard about that, and now
and I think the wood chipper is in some museum or on display or something.
Somewhere, yeah. I have not. I have not. I've heard about the wood chipper, but
So you were asking me what this thing was going to be like before we get started, and this is pretty much it. I just talk about random stuff.
That's awesome.
So how far is Bismarck from Fargo?
3 hours.
Okay.
I mean, we get to see each other every once in a while, and he'll come to Bismarck for AA events, and I'll
Likewise.
go to Fargo for AA events. So we've spent quite a bit of time. Yeah, we He's such an amazing guy and such a big influence in AA here.
Is there like a place like an hour and a half between where you guys get to drive to go to meetings, or is it just either Bismarck or Fargo?
There's a place in the middle as well, but yeah, usually it's just for conferences or
Yeah.
workshops or different events, anniversaries, that sort of thing.
Okay. And I have to ask you, over your right shoulder there, is that a painting?
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a stained glass window actually made by a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's I wish you could see it better, but there's so much sun coming in. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a stained glass window that I've hung over my normal window.
Ah, yeah, it's definitely beautiful. It caught my eye there. So,
Yeah.
okay, so let's talk about Judith a little bit. First of all, I don't know if you remember this, but how we came to get to know each other is Carl. Is a Carl M actually referred me over to you. Love Carl.
Great guy. Another great guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he said, "Hey, have you talked to Judith yet?" And I said, "I have not." And so he gave me your information, and here we are. So, do you do a lot of talking for AA? I mean, traveling and stuff like that.
Uh, I used to do a lot more than I do now, because of my job for the last 2 years. I've been cutting back, and the reason that is because my job. I live away from home. I leave Sunday evening, and I don't get back till Thursday, just in time for my home group back here. So I'm away from home, and so then if I'm flying out Friday and coming back Sunday, I'm never home. So I've cut back a lot, but I used to, like,
Yeah,
quite a bit.
yeah. I don't know how much you want to divulge here, but what kind of that sounds like. I've known a lot of consultants throughout the years, and they leave home on Sunday, they come back on Thursday. Is it a consulting type of job?
No, I'm actually shocker. I'm actually a chief judge. I'm a judge, and I am the chief judge for the MHA Nation, which is about 2.5 hours north of here. And so being on the road 3 hours a day commuting, it's just too much. So I have an apartment up there. And so I stay up there and I work.
Gotcha. Okay, so and once again, I don't want you to talk about anything you don't want. But what is MH like? I'm assuming that's a American Indian.
Yes, MHA Nation is the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation. And another name that they're known as is the three affiliated tribes. They they are, not were, they are different tribes, but for survival back in the day, 1800s and whatnot, for survival, they had to band together because of smallpox, and so many of them passed. And so to just survive, they banded together. So it's the three affiliated tribes that band together and have one reservation together and one government, excuse me, together, and a court system. And it's an amazing community. It's an amazing reservation, and I'm thrilled to serve the people up there.
Do you have American Indian blood in yourself? I mean, is this like
No,
no?
don't. I was actually raised in Australia. I'm half Australian, and that's where I was raised. And so, no, I don't. Although everybody asks me that. Apparently, I could. Anyway. Um, but no,
Okay
they
then.
they have just asked me to be the chief judge there. Because
Wow.
I've got a lot of experience. When I graduated from law school in 2004, I started my career on the reservations in South Dakota, Standing Rock, Pine Ridge, Rosebud mostly. And so and I've done other things, but there's always been this. I started on the reservation, on a lot of different reservations, and for some reason, I am just always I got into a lot of trouble on the reservation. Well, not trouble. I should have gotten in trouble, but I never did get caught through my drinking and whatnot. Um, but it's such a great way because, a lot of my destructiveness, a lot of my alcoholism played out on those reservations. And so now to be able to serve the community rather than be a detriment and be just, someone that is harming the community with my drinking and alcoholism and other things. Now I get to be an asset and contribute to the community, which is almost a way of making amends. So even though this reservation wasn't the one that I was drinking on or anything like that, it's a different state even, but I'm glad that I'm able to give back in that way.
And so what's the day-to-day life of a chief judge? What are you doing?
I get to sentence a lot of people to AA is what I get to do. It's hilarious that now I'm sentencing people to go to AA. Yeah, I do. I manage a lot of people, staff, court staff, manage other judges, assign cases. Also, I sit on the bench. I do some civil and I'd say 99% of all criminal I do, and in some civil I do. Civil usually takes more time, more effort, more writing, more research, and because I have all the administrative duties in addition to sitting on the bench, I tend to give the civil to the other judges because I have all those other responsibilities.
We've had a lot of attorneys and judges and people in the legal system on this podcast.
Yeah. Our profession is pretty bad when it comes to alcoholism and other things, yes.
Okay, now let me kind of back up here a little bit, right? Uh, are you from North Dakota? Like, where did you grow up? Tell me
I
a little bit about that.
I grew up in Australia.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
Yes,
half and half.
yes. Or I say half and half.
Half and half.
My father's Australian, and that's where I was raised, and then I came over here. I came to North Dakota, just turned 18, like days from my 18th birthday, and I was just going to visit. My mom was born and raised here, and I wanted to spend time with that side of the family. I was only meant to be here for a month, and within that month, I met a farm boy, and within a month, I was engaged, and a couple months later, I was married. Completely sober, never had a drink in my life up until that point, and then I ended up. So I came from a city of, was it 3.5 million, um, and ended up in a little house on the prairie,
Hmm.
outside a town of 350 people, and I lived the farm life for a decade. Drove tractor, learned how to drive tractor. I did everything. And then when I was around 27, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold, a little bit of sniffles. I was about 27 or 28, and I had my first drink of alcohol, and everything immediately fell apart at that point.
You said you were 27 or 28 when you had your first drink?
First drop, first drop. I was
Wow.
raised in a home that my father passed away in 2020. And he was close to 90. I can't remember how old he was when he passed, 88, something like that. And he had never had a drop. My father has a doctorate in theology, and he was the president of a religious college over in Australia. And he had never had a drop of alcohol, and that wasn't part of our family at all. Didn't know anyone who drank, wasn't around anyone who drank. I came here, and the guy that I married was 7 years older than me, and he also was very religious, and he had never had a drop of alcohol. So it wasn't anything that was in my upbringing at all. At 13, I was sent away to boarding school in Australia. That's very normal and common. And And so that was a religious boarding school. I just wasn't around it and never ever had an opportunity. And then there was a day where I had a guest in my home. I was 27 or 28. Like I said, I don't remember, but right around that time. And they had what I now know to be vodka. And they innocently said, do you want a drink? And I said, well, yes, I would. Because it wasn't that, I mean, it just was something we didn't do. We, just, but it wasn't like I couldn't do it. So I did. And from that moment, that I remember where I was, I remember who I was with, I remember where I was sitting, and I remember what I said. And from that moment, my life changed. And
Did it pro
maybe it was because I was so old that I don't know. I know other people remember their first drinks. It doesn't mean you're an alcoholic or not an alcoholic if you remember your first drink or not. That's not the sign of it, obviously. But I remember it with such vividness, because it had such a profound impact on me, and sometimes I wonder if it's because I was so old that I remember it so clearly.
did it progress quickly?
Oh, yes. Yes, it did. Within a year, not even a year, within a year, I was excommunicated from the church, which means, they voted and kicked me out. I walked out on that marriage. He was a very good man, and I had no reason. He'd look at me and I remember I was like, I'm leaving, and he had a tear running down his face. I mean, it came from nowhere, out of nowhere. It's not like there is anything that prepared him. There wasn't, because I drank secretly, instantly, because we don't drink. So no one knew. No one knew what was happening at all. That bottle quickly disappeared to be replaced by another and another and another and another. And I just instantly changed. And I don't think anyone knew what was going on or what was happening. And then I walked out on this marriage, and he said, why? The tear rolling down his cheek. And he said, why? And I didn't have an answer. I remember standing there, just this, and I've seen that look on alcoholics since, just this hardness. I don't know. It says in the big book, if you'd ask for a reason, and it's not about leaving a marriage, but it's like you ask the person why they got drunk again. And if they're honest, they won't even have the answer. Something like that, and if I was honest, I would have, although I didn't have the vocabulary and I didn't have the awareness at that point in time, but I would have said, because I can't drink the way I want to drink. You're holding me back. I can't, I have to do this in secret, but I don't even know that's happening. I don't know. I just think I'm doing this in secret because we don't drink. I don't know that at this point, alcohol is calling the shots. Alcohol is saying this marriage is over and you're coming with me. I don't know that I'm an alcoholic. I've never been around anyone that drinks. I've never been exposed to anything. I didn't even know about detox. I didn't know about treatment. I didn't know anyone that drank. So I don't have a clue what is happening to me at all. I just am driven. There's this need. I thought it was to go live life. I thought it was because I got married at 18. I thought it was because I just can't do this anymore. And he's a wonderful, wonderful human being, a wonderful man, and no reason. And I didn't have a reason why I walked out on that marriage. And my response is, I just can't do this. And I walked out, left him just devastated with no answers until I made amends years and years and years and years and years later.
I do have a question about the excommunication. So I've talked to a couple of other people who have been excommunicated. What is that process? And if you want to say the name of the church, you can. If not, I'm fine with that. But what is that process like? And tell me about how that all came about.
Right. Well, all I'll say is it's a Protestant. A lot of people are like thinking some is cult or something. It's not. There's some very strict Protestant churches out there that I don't think they do it today, this denomination. I don't think they would do it today, but who knows? This was back in 1993 or something crazy old. I'm pretty old. Um, so how it works is that the pastor and a couple elders or deacons, I can't remember what this particular denomination calls them, came and spoke to me, and they met with me.
And can I ask, what prompted them to come speak to you to begin with?
Because I had left my husband.
Ah,
I walked out, and so I moved from that little town to Bismarck, North Dakota, and also I moved in with a guy right away, of course. They were fine. Actually, it was a little while before I moved in with someone else. That is true. And no one came and visited me or tried to help me, which, well, I'm not going to place blame. It's my actions. But then, so I was living, I was living here in an apartment. Then I moved in with a guy, and they knew about it. Now I'm getting a divorce. And they came to talk to me and tell me this is against God. This is against everything. And don't do it, and stop and come back and straighten up, repent, whatever word you want to use. And I looked at them and I said, no. And then they said, all right. It was about a 3-hour conversation. We went around and around and around. I'm pretty good at arguing as an attorney. And I know theology. I was raised by the best. And so I can, hold my own. It was about 3 hours. They finally gave up, and they said it's not over. And so then what they do, and I wasn't there, but then you go back, and the members of the church take a vote, and they vote to kick you out. And the whole idea is I believe it's misused, obviously, but the whole idea is that we need to let them go so that they turn around. They turn their lives around. I think I'm going to say that their motivations was good. I am. And as far as they knew, they did the best they could. And what it is that we're casting her out. Hopefully she'll get tired of being out in the cold by herself, spiritually speaking, and perhaps she'll return to the fold.
Like the prodigal son.
Yes.
I got it.
It never happened. It never worked. And I continued to drink, and I destroyed that. And then I got married to that guy. With a few months.
So, real quick before we go from that, just did you? First of all, I'm wondering, did you know any other people that they had ever excommunicated?
I don't. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Especially for the first. But it's a big thing. It's a big thing because I had relatives in that church, cousins, aunt, uncle. My family also had to deal with it. And because if you get excommunicated and you're a believer, or, a Christian or whatever, even my own family would not be able to talk to me.
Oh, wow.
I would be dead to them all. And I did something really bad at that point. Because I was terrified of being owned I don't know, from my own family.
Right.
Disowned. That's what I'm trying.
Disowned. Right. I'm sorry.
Not de-owned. Disowned from my family. I was terrified because my siblings were all I had in my mind. And so what I did was I told a lie, self-preservation. And I said to my family that my first husband, was abusive. Now that's a reason why you can get divorced. See, no one knows I'm drinking still. No one knows that I'm battling. I don't know I'm battling alcohol. I don't know what's going on. And I'm just fighting to stay, to doing whatever I have to do. Judith comes first, I guess, in that kind of lifestyle. And so I told my family that he was abusive, which is an absolute 100% lie. And I want to make that clear. He was a good person, wonderful, wonderful human being, very spiritual. I don't have anything negative to say about that man. And, but I lied and
Let me
told
ask you real quick.
it's horrible.
When you said that, did your family and others at the time, like, feel for you, or did they think you were grasping at straws?
Oh, no, they believed me 100%, and they cut him out, and that's why I hurt my family, I hurt my nephews. They were devastated because this my first husband was their hero. He's a wonderful guy, and he was one of those guys that would play with the kids, and family get-togethers, and he'd be out there doing the football or whatever. He was a favorite, and they looked up to him and looked and it rocked their faith. These little kids. I then destroyed their innocence. And I'm thinking the entire time, I'm not hurting anyone. Who am I hurting? I'm not hurting anyone. And I didn't know this. I didn't know it until decade later, whatever, when I went to make amends to my sister and her family, and I didn't even know I owed an amends to my little nephews. They were just 7 and 9 or something like that. It's like they don't even know what's going on. But what I was told was my sister had to tell them, okay, your Auntie Judith is getting a divorce from Uncle, I'll leave his name out, and because Uncle, let's say Bob, because Uncle Bob hurts Auntie Judith.
Oh,
And they sat there and sobbed. My sister had to hold them for hours, or she said an hour.
oh,
And their innocence is broken and shattered. And he was supposed to be a man of God, which he is. He's a very spiritual man. And yet I made them doubt everything. And I had no idea this happened. I had no idea that they took all the pictures out of the albums of him
no.
because they love me so much that he's hurting me and they want nothing to do with him. And I mean, I had no idea the ripple effect. I was just trying to take care of me. I
Yes.
just didn't want them to disown me. I just wanted to get out of trouble. And so I told this terrible, terrible lie. And it's tragic. I can never make that right. I've made amends to him. I made amends to his parents. I made amends to anyone I can think of, and I'll tell anyone and everyone what an amazing individual. It was all me. And I want to clear up I destroyed this good man's reputation. It was horrible.
How did
Yeah.
he react at the time? Do you remember?
No, we didn't talk. Well, how he reacted was he left that small town. So his career's over as a farmer and a pillar of that community. He left that town and he went around different places, in America, odd jobs. We ended up getting a divorce, and then he settled in a place where he got a job, and he met a wonderful woman who had 2 kids, 2 young daughters, and he was able to be a father to those, and they're still married to this day. And this is back in, I'm going to say 93 when we got
So
divorced or something like that. And so he's with her and living a wonderful, happy life.
So I'm sure you've told this story from the podium, and other people, other women and men have heard this. I mean, it's basically kind of a false accusation type of story. When you tell that, what sort of reaction have you gotten, and what sort of, I mean, have you had, many people approach you after you've told the story and say, gosh, I did the same thing. Now I need to make it right?
Yeah, I don't really tell that part of my story from the podium because there's so much more to tell. That's the beginning. That's within the first year of my drinking. We haven't even gotten into the bad stuff, right? I mean, that's bad enough. Um, what people react to more than that is when I've said, and I've stopped saying it from the podium, my second husband, he kicked me out and he said, because of my drinking, when I get back, he goes, I'm leaving for the weekend. When I get back, you better be gone. And so I called the moving truck and I said to the movers, all right, I want that, pack it all up. And I'm moving. And I did. I moved into a different state right away. And while I said, oh, and by the way, I want that. And what that was a collector's item Harley motorcycle.
Oh.
Yeah, see, most people react to that. I stole and then forged the title and sold my second husband's collector's item Harley Davidson motorcycle. That's what people care about. I know, and boy, and I get it. I get it in the, the thank you line at the end. Ooh, boy, the men do not like that. That's what they comment about. There's always Harley riders in the audience. And I was like, well, I needed to have the money to buy myself a brand new Harley. I didn't want that one. I wanted a brand new one. So I had to sell that one to buy a new one. I'm still making amends on that. But yeah, here's going back to the first one, which is actually far, far, far worse. I don't really talk about it in my story, but what I do, in fact, I'm going out to, in a week or two. I think I'm flying into Baltimore and I don't know where the workshop is, but for some reason I've been tapped a lot into doing the, step 4 and 5 inventory on sex. I do like a 3-hour workshop just on the sex inventory and ideal. And I mentioned that, the whole false accusation in that, and there's a lot of feedback from that as well. I also share about being sexually abused at boarding school from a staff member, and I share about, being, having affairs with married men a lot in my drinking. And those things really hit with a lot of people. Yeah.
So, Judith, what we're like in your first year of drinking,
Yeah.
and I have so much more that I want to talk to you about. The reason that I'm telling you that is because
We're running out
what
already.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause it here, okay?
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you to come back at some other time and we can finish up the remainder of your story and whatever else we need to talk about. Are you okay with that?
Perfectly fine.
Thank you so much. So I always end it here with page 164 from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It says, abandon your God, not abandon your God.
Hopefully not.
Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to Him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us, like me and Judith, as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then. Once again, Judith, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.